In the heart of ancient India, more than 2,500 years ago, a quiet revolution of the spirit began. A prince named Siddhartha Gautama, born into wealth and privilege, left behind the luxuries of his royal life to seek the truth about human suffering. His journey through forests, rivers, and mountains was not just a search for answers, it was a quest to touch the very essence of existence. After years of meditation and self-discipline, beneath the shade of a Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, Siddhartha awakened to a profound realization that suffering is a part of life, but freedom from suffering is possible through wisdom, compassion, and inner awakening. From that moment, he became known as the Buddha, the Awakened One. The teachings of the Buddha spread far and wide across India, carried by monks who walked barefoot from village to village, sharing not just words, but the presence of peace. Kings, scholars, and ordinary villagers alike opened their hearts to this new path, a path not of blind faith, but of practice, understanding, and inner transformation. Over time, Buddhism spread beyond India, traveling along the Silk Road into China, Japan, Korea, Tibet, Sri Lanka, and beyond. Each land gave Buddhism its own unique expression, blending the timeless wisdom of the Buddha with local traditions. The ripples of those ancient moments still reach us today, like waves of calm flowing across the centuries. Those early times were shaped not only by the Buddha, but also by his devoted disciples. Figures like Ananda, the Buddha's cousin, who memorized his teachings with perfect clarity, ensuring that the words of wisdom were preserved for generations. King Ashoka, the great emperor of India, who, after witnessing the horrors of war, embraced Buddhism and spread its message of peace across his empire. These men and women, inspired by the Buddha's compassion, carried forward the light of awakening, reminding humanity that even in times of turmoil, there is a path to peace. Today, the legacy of those ancient teachings is alive in the daily lives of millions of Buddhists around the world. In monasteries nestled in the Himalayas, monks rise before dawn, their chants echoing softly against the mountains, inviting the mind into stillness. In the bustling streets of Bangkok or Yangon, ordinary people pause to offer food to monks, an act of generosity that keeps the cycle of giving and gratitude alive. In Zen temples in Japan, following the breath, embracing the present moment as the doorway to peace. In Sri Lanka and Nepal, festivals light up the night skies with lanterns, symbolizing the light of wisdom that dispels the darkness of ignorance. These rituals are not just outward acts, they are living expressions of inner practice. Chanting, bowing, offering incense, or simply sitting in silence, all point to the same truth, that peace is not found in possessions or fleeting pleasures, but within the calm heart that understands the impermanence of life. Buddhists cultivate mindfulness in every step, compassion in every action, and awareness in every breath. Even in simple daily acts like drinking tea, sweeping the floor, or walking along a quiet path. The teachings of the Buddha remind us to be fully alive, fully awake, and fully at peace. At the heart of Buddhism are timeless principles that touch the soul. Compassion, the wish for all beings to be free from suffering. Loving kindness, the radiant warmth of wishing happiness for others. Mindfulness, the gentle awareness that anchors us in the present moment. Wisdom, the deep understanding that life is ever-changing, that nothing lasts forever, and that clinging only brings sorrow. These are not abstract ideas. They are living practices that transform the heart. When we forgive someone who has hurt us, when we show kindness to a stranger, when we pause to breathe in the midst of chaos, we are walking the path of the Buddha. The Buddhas for noble truths guide us like stars in the night sky. They remind us that suffering exists, that it has a cause, that it can be ended, and that there is a path to its end. The noble eightfold path of right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. These are not rigid rules, but gentle signposts pointing us back to balance, harmony, and freedom. The Buddha often compared his teachings to a raft, useful for crossing the river of suffering, but not something to cling to once the shore of liberation has been reached. In today's world, stress and endless distraction, the wisdom of Buddhism shines brighter than ever. Mindfulness meditation has entered schools, hospitals, and workplaces, offering tools to reduce stress and cultivate clarity. Compassion practices are used by therapists and healers to mend broken hearts and fractured relationships. People of all backgrounds, regardless of religion, find peace in the Buddha's words. Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. In an age of conflict, these words are more than philosophy. They are a healing balm for humanity. Buddhism teaches us to live not in the past or future, but in the sacredness of the present moment. When we breathe consciously, when we notice the beauty of a sunrise, when we listen deeply to another without judgment, we touch the essence of Buddhist practice. It is not about escaping life, but about embracing it with awareness, compassion, and wisdom. The teachings are a reminder that every moment is precious, that every person is worthy of kindness, and that true happiness is not found in grasping, but in letting go. As you listen to these stories and teachings, allow them to sink into your heart. Imagine the quiet footsteps of monks walking through forests long ago. Imagine the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree, his face serene, his heart overflowing with compassion for all beings. Imagine the millions of practitioners today who, in their own small ways, keep this light alive, whether through meditation, through kindness, or through the simple act of being present and now. Past, but living seeds in your own life. In your moments of stress, remember the calm breath. In your moments of anger, remember compassion. In your moments of doubt, remember the impermanence of all things. The path to peace is not somewhere far away. It begins here, in this very moment within you. Like a lotus rising from muddy waters, your spirit, too, can blossom into radiant peace. Buddhism, in its essence, is not about worshipping a figure from the past. It is about awakening in the present. The Buddha's final words were simple, yet eternal. Be a light unto yourselves. Carry that light in your heart. Share it with others through kindness, patience, and love. And as you walk your path, may you find not only calm and stress relief, but the deepest gift of all inner peace, the unshakable peace that shines like a flame even in the darkest night. Across centuries, the influence of Buddhism grew into a quiet but powerful force, shaping entire civilizations. In China, Buddhism blended with Taoist and Confucian traditions, giving birth to rich schools of meditation and philosophy. In Japan, Zen Buddhism emerged, teaching simplicity, silence, and the beauty of finding enlightenment in the most ordinary moments, like the pouring of tea or the placement of a stone in a garden. In Tibet, the teachings expanded into profound rituals, chanting, and the creation of mandalas, intricate designs made of colored sand that remind us of life's impermanence, swept away after days of careful creation. In Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia, the Theravada tradition preserved the early teachings with great devotion, keeping alive the original words of the Buddha. All these expressions may look different on the surface, point to the same truth, the possibility of awakening, of living with clarity and compassion, of walking a path of peace. What unites them is not doctrine, but a spirit of freedom, the freedom one's own heart. The monks and nuns of these traditions devoted their lives to practice, discipline, and meditation. But Buddhism was never meant only for those who left home. From the very beginning, the Buddha taught both monks and ordinary people, showing that anyone, whether a king or a farmer, a scholar or a mother, can walk the path of compassion and wisdom. The message was universal, timeless, and open to And so, even today, Buddhist practice takes many shapes. In the temples of Myanmar, thousands gather at sunrise, their hands folded in prayer, as monks walk silently to collect alms. In Korea, the morning temple bells echo across mountain valleys, awakening the world to mindfulness. In Vietnam, quiet prayers are offered with incense, the rising smoke carrying the wishes of the heart to the heavens. The world, people gather in meditation halls, sitting in silence, returning to the breath, reconnecting with themselves in the midst of busy lives everywhere. The heart of the practice remains the same: mindfulness, compassion, and the search for liberation from suffering. Even for those who do not call themselves Buddhist, these practices bring healing. A simple act of mindful breathing calms the racing mind. A gesture of kindness melts away anger. A moment of silence reconnects us to the present moment, which is always the gateway to peace. The rituals of Buddhism may seem small or symbolic, but each one carries a universe of meaning. Lighting a candle symbolizes bringing light to darkness. Offering flowers reminds us of life's fragility and the beauty of impermanence. Pouring water represents the flow of compassion that nourishes all beings. Bowing is not submission, but humility, honoring of the interconnectedness of life. Every movement, every gesture, every sound is a reminder to live fully and to let go. And in this letting go, there is profound strength. The Buddha's teachings remind us that life is filled with change. Nothing stays the same. Our joys, our sorrows, our successes, our failures all rise and pass away like clouds in the sky. To cling is to suffer, but to accept is to find freedom. This truth, though simple, transforms lives. It teaches us to hold each moment gently, to cherish it, and then to let it pass without fear. When we embrace this, stress loses its power over us. Worries about the future soften. Regrets from the past dissolve. What remains is the calm clarity of now. In the stillness of now, there is peace. In the openness of now, there is love. This is the essence of Buddhist practice, not escape from life, but a deep embrace of it, moment by moment, breath by breath. At the heart of Buddhism are principles that do not belong to any single culture, but to the human spirit itself. They are like timeless seeds, waiting to blossom in every heart. Among them, compassion shines the brightest. Compassion is not pity, nor is it weakness. It is the deep wish that all beings, without exception, may be free from suffering. When the Buddha looked at the world, he did not see strangers or enemies. He saw beings caught in the web of pain, fear, and longing. His compassion was boundless, flowing equally to kings and beggars, friends and foes, humans and animals alike too. Practice compassion is to open our hearts beyond the narrow circle of self. It begins with a simple awareness that others, like us, seek happiness and, like us, wish to avoid suffering. When we feel this truth deeply, our anger softens, our judgments dissolve, and love becomes natural. Even a small act, listening without interruption, helping a stranger, offering a smile, becomes a thread of compassion woven into the great tapestry of life. Alongside compassion is loving kindness, known in Pali as metta. Loving kindness is the practice of wishing happiness for others without conditions, without limits. Imagine closing your eyes, breathing slowly, and repeating silently, "May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be peaceful. May I live with ease." Then, expanding that circle, may my loved ones be happy. May my neighbors be safe. May all beings, near and far, known and unknown, be peaceful. This practice transforms the heart. It dissolves hatred and fear, replacing them with warmth and connection. It is said that a heart full of love and kindness is like a sun, shines equally on all, without discrimination. Another jewel of the Buddhist path is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of being truly present. In a world that constantly pulls us into distractions, worries, and regrets, mindfulness brings us back home to this moment. The Buddha compared mindfulness to a lamp that illuminates the path. Without it, we stumble in the dark. With it, we walk with clarity and freedom. When we breathe with awareness, when we eat with attention, when we walk with presence, life becomes vivid, alive, and precious. We no longer live half asleep, but awaken to the miracle of being here. From mindfulness arises wisdom. Wisdom is not mere knowledge, but the deep understanding of life's nature. The Buddha taught that everything is impermanent, that nothing lasts forever, not our joys, not our sorrows, not even our very selves. To grasp tightly at what must change is to suffer. To let go is to be free. Wisdom sees this truth and learns to flow with life rather than fight against it. It is like a river calm, steady, and unshaken by the storms above. Together, compassion, loving kindness, mindfulness, and wisdom form the heart of Buddhist practice. They are not distant ideals, but living guides for every moment. When stress rises, compassion softens it. When loneliness appears, loving kindness heals it. When distraction scatters us, mindfulness gathers us. When confusion blinds us, wisdom illuminates the way, and in practicing them, we discover that the peace we long for has never been outside us. It has always been within. Like a lotus hidden beneath muddy waters, our true nature waits quietly, ready to blossom into serenity, strength, and joy. In today's world, where life moves at an unrelenting pace, the wisdom of Buddhism has become a guiding light for millions. Even for those who do not identify as Buddhists, its teachings, carried across centuries, are now woven into modern medicine, psychology, education, and even workplaces. Practices like meditation and mindfulness, once confined to temples and monasteries, are now embraced in hospitals to ease anxiety, in schools to help children focus, and in homes where families seek peace in the midst of busy lives. Mindfulness, in particular, has found its way into the heart of modern society. Doctors recommend it to reduce stress and heal trauma. Teachers bring it into classrooms to nurture calm and attention in young minds. Companies introduce mindfulness sessions to help employees find balance amid deadlines and pressure. Even scientists studying the brain have confirmed what practitioners have known for centuries, that mindfulness reshapes the mind, strengthens emotional resilience, and opens the door to inner peace. But beyond research and studies, its true gift is far simpler. It reconnects us to the present moment. In a time where our thoughts are constantly pulled toward worries of the future or regrets of the past, mindfulness anchors us here, where life is actually happening. Imagine sipping a cup of tea, not while scrolling on a phone, not while rushing to the next task, but simply sitting in silence, feeling the warmth of the cup, tasting the flavor, breathing gently, fully present. This is Buddhism alive in daily life. Compassion, too, is reshaping our world. In an age where division and conflict often dominate, the Buddha's teaching that hatred never ceases by hatred, but only by love, feels more relevant than ever. Across the globe, people are turning to compassion practices not only to heal their personal relationships, but also to build bridges between communities, cultures, and nations. Leaders, activists, and everyday people are finding strength in kindness, understanding that true change begins not with anger, but with an open heart. Even in art, literature, and philosophy, Buddhism continues to inspire. Poets write of impermanence. Painters capture the stillness of meditation. Filmmakers draw from Zen simplicity. And philosophers explore the depths of interconnection. What began under a tree in ancient India has blossomed into a worldwide movement of peace, touching hearts across every continent. And yet, Buddhism asks for no conversion, no label, no boundary. It is not about becoming something new is about returning to what has always been within you. Whether you are in a quiet temple in Kyoto, a meditation retreat in the Himalayas, or simply sitting in your living room with closed eyes, the same path opens. The path of awareness, compassion, and peace. This is why the teachings remain so relevant. In times of chaos, they teach calm. In times of fear, they teach courage. In times of division, they teach unity. In times of suffering, they teach healing. The Buddha's message transcends centuries and cultures because it speaks to the human heart, which has always longed for the same thing: freedom from suffering and the discovery of true happiness. As we reflect on this journey from the life of the Buddha in ancient India, through centuries of practice and devotion, into our own modern lives, we begin to see a golden thread connecting it all: the possibility of awakening. Buddhism does not promise a life free of challenges, but it does offer a way to meet those challenges with grace, wisdom, and love. The stress we feel, the anxiety that grips us, the longing that never seems to indulge of these are part of the human experience. But the teachings remind us that none of them define us. Just as clouds drift across the vast sky, our thoughts and emotions arise and fade. Beneath them, like the open sky itself, our true nature remains untouched, luminous, and free. To touch that space within is to discover the peace we have been searching for all along. The solution is not found in running away from life, but in embracing it with mindfulness. The next time stress rises, pause and breathe. Feel the breath entering, feel it leaving, steady and calm. The next time anger flares, remember compassion and see the other person not as an enemy, but as a fellow traveler in the struggle of life. The next time loneliness appears, practice loving kindness, sending wishes of peace to yourself and to all beings, near and far. These simple acts, repeated gently, open the heart and transform the mind. The inspiration of Buddhism is not in grand gestures, but in the quiet strength of daily practice. Just as rivers carve valleys through steady flow, so too can mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom reshape our lives when practiced consistently, patiently, and with sincerity. Every step, every breath, every moment of awareness is a step on the path to peace. And so, as you listen now, know that the Buddha's light is not a distant story, is alive in you. His compassion is your compassion. His wisdom, his peace can be your peace. To follow his teachings is not to worship a figure of the past, but to awaken your own heart in the present. The Buddha's final words to his disciples were simple and profound. Be a light unto yourselves. Let that light guide you. Let it shine in your thoughts, your words, your actions. Let it illuminate the darkness of doubt and fear. Let it spread warmth to those around you, so that your presence itself becomes a source of calm and comfort. The world today longs for peace. It longs for compassion. It longs for kindness. And while we may not change the entire world, we can change the world within a sand. From that inner change, the outer world will slowly transform. One act of kindness at a time. One mindful breath at a time. One awakened heart at a time. So as you continue your journey beyond this moment, carry with you the timeless gifts of Buddhism, the calm mind that sees clearly, the compassionate heart that loves without condition, and the unshakable peace that nothing can disturb. Let these teachings live in you, not as distant ideas, but as daily practices, as a way of being. And may you, in every step, in every breath, find what the Buddha himself found under the Bodhi tree, that true peace, true joy, true liberation is not somewhere far away, but here, now, within you.